Yeah, hello, and welcome back to the grind. On to the BMW E10 1976 2002. And this week was trim. Everything's trim. Everything's trimmed around and getting that stuff all put together. Getting it, this part down here onto it and the back. And I did get the back bumper on. And it's solid on there. Now, lots of people don't like those big, ugly things that come in North America, but I kind of like them. I don't know why. I just used to the look, I guess. I had one of these cars way back when, and it had that kind of bumpers, and I'm used to it, and I like it. The little ones that were on, I also had this one here. I had a 2002, or in fact, I had two of them. One was a 1968 variety, but I had that after I had a 1974 variety, I think it was. And the 1974 had this kind of bumpers, and the 1968 had the European style bumpers. And I did always like, the 1968 had the round headlights too, tail lights, and I always liked the look of the back end of this one, this style, better than the other style. I don't know why, it's just personal preference, isn't it? I just kind of like that. It looks all right to me. Anyway, got all the trim on, look at that, it says 2002 automatic. What the hell? And so I think you'll be seeing this on New Year's Day, maybe. So a happy New Year to everybody, and a prosperous 2026. And come on back. It's just about Christmas Day here, like another 2 days will be Christmas. And by the time I get this all put together and out to you guys, it's going to be New Year's Day, by the way it seems to work around here. So have a very happy New Year, and I hope you had a happy Christmas, and I hope I have a happy Christmas. And so come on back for more. We'll see if we can get this project done. It's getting close to the finishing line. Now I don't know, like I seem to have lots of projects that never get quite finished. This one here might get finished. The E24 over there on the other side, it's finished. It's a happy car to drive. The Porsche 924, it's got plates on it and stuff, but it's not finished. There's still some more work I should do on it, which I might do after this is done. We'll just see. Anyway, that's all for this week and all for this year. Have a happy New Year and have a happy Christmas. See you later. There we go. This is coming up soon. Clean that stuff up. That's another one of those things happened. Spent the morning on a snowblower. Then even made a video of the snowblower, so that'll be somewhere out there. Anyhow, yesterday, this is the original mirror for the car, and it's actually quite a nice, nice mirror. Well made, looks good. There's another mirror around here that's like a replacement one, but it's really pretty chintzy. It was this one here is missing the mounting bracket, so I went on a 3D printer and made this, which will fit into. Wait a minute, I'll put the camera down so you can see what I'm doing here. We have the technology to do this. Yeah, right here. So see how this is that shape to go into the inside of this. Then at this end there's a screw that screws into to tighten it down. At this side up here there's a little lip. So see that lip there? Can you see that lip? I don't know. I can't tell. I'll find out later on the footage. Now that just slides in there, and so this front end can't come out. Then this thing here will screw into, I'll make it so it screws right into that. But there's a hole here to hold it onto the car, and a hole here to hold it onto the car. Now, of course, I've got the door card on and everything, and that has to come off to be able to get this mounted on there, because, of course, it mounts from below. Anyway, but what I'm planning on doing here is I'm going to make a metal thing here that'll just go over and catch on that. So then I'll drill the hole through, and that'll give it something solid onto the car, and this should be solid enough at that end to hold it steady. Then I'll put a bunch of glue into it and see what happens. Yeah, so here's my mirror thing, and this little lip that came out here didn't make it through the first cut. It just broke. So what I have to do is make it so there's metal holding here on the mirror and metal holding here on the mirror, which I will do. So I've got it solved already for this side here, because that'll be just, I made a bolt that'll fit right in here, and then that'll hold tight against that, and then that will pull on it, right? And be metal to metal against the car. This side over here, I'm going to make a little metal, I'll make a little metal thing, but I want to cut this back a bit so that I can better manage where the metal goes. So this has to be, holes have to be moved over 3 millimeters this way. Then this part here has to come this way about that much, maybe that 3 millimeters. It'll be the same here, about that much, right? And then I want to make this thicker by another 2 millimeters at the bottom. So maybe I'll make it a millimeter up, and we'll see. See what I can do. But then you see this hole here, I'll put that hole in. I don't want to make I want to keep this, well, that's all right, because that's going to be a metal problem there. Okay. All right, I'll see what I can do about make a piece of metal here first before I do anything else. Yeah, so I had some 20 gauge steel here, which will do fine for this purpose. It'll just sit right on there. This will all move 3 millimeters that way. And then the hole will move 3 millimeters this way here. Then we'll see what happens. Okay, I'll give it a go. Yeah, so here's my mirror holder. It's got that hole there to whatever I want to do. I want that to hang on to the push on this way. This thing here has got a little lip on it there, metal, to push on it that way, and that should all hold together. And these two things go into the car. Now, if I can get this mounted on the car, then I'll see how the mirror looks on it, because there's going to be a bit of a gap right here. I have black on black, everything is black. Here, I'll put it on something white. There's going to be a bit of a gap right here, but I think I'll just use some black silicone, fill that up so that it looks, so you don't notice it, and then we'll just see how it looks. Now, I have to rethink how I get this mirror onto here. These two bolts here, I was able to push a bolt from the other side up and then tighten it down on here, right? So that's a start. That's something to hold it on. So now I just have to rebuild my holder, this thing here, so that I can get that all to work with this part here, which I think I can do. I'll just let me just give it a try. Yeah, so there, this is like a 3-day job just making this thing here, but that's okay. Now, I've got that so that it fits pretty good there, right? I'm going to make it, redo this thing. I'll make those holes just a bit bigger, because doesn't matter how, they've got to be big enough to fit over the hole underneath there. I'll make a little bit of a extrusion in it here so that it'll fit onto that. Then, yeah, that'll work. Make the base that thick so that it covers those bolts. Then I'll make this a bit shorter this way so that I can put a nut on there. And then when the nut is on, this thing here will just grind right into it. I'll sharpen the end of this, make a little bit of a divot in the nut so that it will hold it, and then that'll be good. This end here, I'll make a little bit of a thing to fit into this here out of metal, and that would be, I'll make it out of heavier metal than that stuff there too. Okay, that'll work. Okay, I've got to do some redesigning. Okay, so here's version number 5. This thing, it's got just that little bit of a ridge up there and pretty big holes. Now this thing on the car, it comes through like that, and then that'll sit on there. And then I can tighten it down from the top side, like that won't go through, and it'll center on that, and then tighten down from the top side. Then I'll make it somehow to make this so it screws in and tightens down on that. Then at the other end here, I'll have to rub this off, bring this down a bit, and then I'll build, like I'll use the stainless steel, use something like that, and then I'll put a bend on it so that I'll only use like that much, but it's got to be 10 millimeters across, so I'll just cut it so it's 10 millimeters across, then make a thing to go into this part here. That'll hold the front down. Then that should be a good fix, we hope. We'll just wait and see tomorrow. Yeah, there, finally have a working model. Now this is if I called it episodes, this would be episode number 9 for this thing here. But actually it'll work pretty good. It's got just a nice little gap down here. This thing here is pretty well flush. Around the edges here, it's like wider there, but that's fine. And this sits on there well. Now, how is it held in here? So I built this, just a little thing. This is out of stainless steel, and that seems to hold the front end of it all right, which is into that cavern there. And then this other end fits on tight right to the edge of it. And now where the holder is going to come is right between those two. So I'm going to chamfer each of these bolts, like put a little bit of a chamfer on each one of these bolts, going one that way and one that way. Then it'll make it so that the set screw can sit in there and hold tight. Okay, now I'll just put it on the car, see if it really does work, and then we'll work on the next step. Oh, success, I think. I'll worry about getting it pointed at, oops, fall right off. But I haven't got this end here nailed in yet. But that is how it's going to sit. And that's looking pretty good. Once the screws comes into this side, that'll tighten that down so that it's good. And I'll be happy with that. Right on. Now on the car it sits like that. So this is metal holding to metal, like that's right through to the car. And this thing here will be metal holding metal right through to the car. So this piece of plastic that I have here is just like a test piece. I didn't, you see this one, here's one that is also a test piece. Not very, like only at 10% of strength in there. The way that the oh, what do you call it, 3D printer works, it goes back and forth, 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 and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's got a great big weave in there right now. And when the final product, it'll have just, I'll put it at 80% of coverage, so that it just basically it'll be, or basically, don't like that word either, do you? Anyhow, but it'll be like just plastic, like there won't be any, it'll be just plastic. Okay, that's all I can say. This stuff is PETG with carbon fiber in it, so it's pretty strong stuff once I get it done. Okay, so this part here, I can just leave that on there for now, but I'll show you, wait a second here. So there's the little piece, and I've got metal washers on there. Then these bolts come through from the other side, and I've got them screwed on here and Loctited, and then I put silicone around it to keep the water, they're little, like, to keep water going through there. Next is I'll put some silicone on the bottom of this piece when I get the final piece, and that'll all be good. It'll be good and sealed, and there won't be any water getting into anywhere. Okay, now I'll go in and I'll print up the last piece. I've got it set to go, but I didn't want to print it until I knew that it was going to be right. So it's right now. Yeah, so like another 3 days of life have gone by here. I didn't film much of it. I did take off all this stuff here so I could get my hand in there, right in there, to be able to get those bolts in there. This bolt here I was able to get pushed through from here. The other bolt I went in from way over there with those great big long pliers. I don't know if you can see those big long pliers right there. Went in with those and got the bolts in. And then I figured, well, they're in there. I'm not going to ever take them out again, because that's what will hold the mirror on, those two bolts, and those are fairly substantial. No plastic holding anything. Everything's metal to metal, so that's good. The only thing that might be a little bit weak is this here, which is threaded to M. What size is that? Yeah, it's threaded to M6. I wouldn't want to make it any bigger than that because it'll go through the bottom of there. So we'll hope that just makes it all right. Okay. Okay, here I am on the mirror bit again. So I shaved this down a bit so that I could put a big type of washer on here, and I made this, and then I've got a M4 screw drilled into there. That M4 screw is going to go through this hole, but it doesn't, no matter what I like, everything fits on here okay. Oops, right like that. Then that M4 will go through and it'll hold that hole, but it won't be like, it'll still move a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put some silicone into along here and here and here and here, just so that, and then let it harden on that. Also, I'm going to take it off, put some silicone underneath it here, just so that it's glued on there all right. Only a little thin coat. Then put some silicone in around this stuff, let it harden, then see how it, like, I'm pretty sure that'll keep it from rattling around. This part here is solid. Anyway, I think it'll work. It'll work well enough, right? Then I'll put Loctite on this and this. Everything will get Loctite on it. Yeah, there. That's on. I'm going to take some, after it all gets hardened on here, I'll take some black silicone and stick it in here, just to, cover that stuff up. But that seems to be a good solution for that thing, because otherwise I had to think about putting that old ugly one back on, and that old ugly one sure was ugly. I'll find it for you, I'll show you. Yeah, here's the old ugly. It's like a Canadian Tire thing, really chintzy, and much uglier than that thing. And it had this this metal holder that held it, and a screw that went all the way through, and it was just awful. Anyhow, but this is not going to be on there anymore. That one there looks good. That's a nice mirror, and it looks good. So that'll stay, and that's solid there now. It won't fall off, and hopefully it won't rattle around. But we'll wait and see if I have to stuff more silicone in it or something to keep it from rattling around. That's good. Anyway, that's another 3 days of my life right there, eh? Amazing how amazing how much time these things take to get done. Anyway, now 3 days ago I said I was going to start putting trim on, cleaning the trim up and put it on. So I think it's time to do that. Yeah, I'm not even going to do anything with that door until that silicone stiffens up. But these things here, so here's the trim. It's, you know, it's not in bad shape, but it is faded, right? So I've got a new thing for there. That one there I think is okay still, if I can make it work. And then these things here, that's the clippy things for it. So I bought these from FCP Euro 03809 and they come in a package of 50 pieces, so I think I got another 10 on top of it, just in a baggie there. And they're not cheap, but they're the ones you need. Then what you do is you just stick them in, like you stick them into the little hole there, like that. And then you pound on this plastic thing, and that expands it on the inside so that it will hold. I'm not doing them yet. This one right here has got a smaller hole. It gets a screw in it. This one right here has got a smaller hole. It gets that screw in it. So I'm going to clip this piece on first. See how that works out. Then I'm going to go across the front. There's the front piece. It's got the got to be cleaned yet, but it's got the pointy bit in it. We'll see how things come together. Yeah, so that piece just snapped right on there. Hopefully it's far enough this way it won't catch the door. We'll just check and see what happens with the door here now. Oh no, the door misses it easily. Okay, so now oh dear, that piece went on all right. I'll do this piece next and keep working around. Yeah, there, okay. That looks kind of nice. I put on the badge on here just to make it look finished. So they send along, or I ordered 4 of these things here, and they come along. They don't have any nuts for them. They just, so I have a set of small stuff. They're M3, and there's M3 lock washers, and M3 washers are in here somewhere, right there, that one. So, yep, that's good thing I have this little set of Lukensen 860 pieces of very small M2, M3, 8, and 4. That sometimes they're quite handy. Like I used an M4 over here on the mirror, just right there, to hold that in place, and don't touch it, hey? And then I wiped off the dust and stuff so it looks kind of nice and shiny, hey? Okay, that's the way that's supposed to be, so I'll just carry on. The most difficult part is getting these joints to fit right, and, well, get it lined up here at the end right, number 1. Get that joint to fit. Get that joint to fit, and then lined up at this end, number 2. Okay, so looks good. Okay, yeah. So I poked myself with a pokey thing. Had to get the first aid kit out. First time I've used this first aid kit, I think. It's been there for I don't know how many years, 5 years, 6 years, anyhow. And it was in the back of the car before that, so it seems to work. Yeah, so FCP Euro charges you $4 USA each for one of these things. So I only got 4 of them. And I figured, well, I'll see if I can make my own. There you go. There's a bunch of blanks there. I don't know how many I need, but I'll make this many. And if I need to make more, I'll make more. These ones here I'll just leave out for to use for that's a M3 thing in there. I drilled the hole smaller and then I tapped it so that this would tighten into it. Then I don't have to weld or anything like that. But it needs some in the corners on the back here, so that'll go in there. And that should make things come together all right. So I'll build these things and back at you soon. Yeah, so I just put a thread through them so that the once the nut is in there, I'll put a bit of Loctite on it, or the bolt's in there, and then I'll put a bit of Loctite on it, and that'll hold that together. I'll show you. Yeah, so I got all the little clippy things along this side of the car. Then this one here, it gets a fastener, and you have to get behind that part to get the fastener. So 3 steps back, right? We'll see how that works out. Then over on this side of the car here, I've got the this first piece of trim on here. That, like, it's not in the very best of shape, but that's how it is. And I've got a fastener underneath this one and a fastener underneath this one, the way it came from the factory, and a fastener underneath here. So that'll be good. That'll hold it on tight. Then the same thing on here. This one has a fastener, so I have to take off the entire inside part. And I haven't touched that thing yet because I don't want to touch it till tomorrow. It'll be cured by then, we hope. Anyway, that's enough for today. Gotta go and see how the dog is doing, right? Okay, come on back for more. See you later. Hey, here I am, another day. That's nice and tight and solid on there. No shaking, nothing. So I just need a little bit of black silicone I'll put in there just to cover that up. Make it look better. But that'll be good. I think I can adjust the mirror. Yeah, look at that. You can adjust the mirror and everything. Doesn't fall off. Yay. Don't know how for sure it adjusts downward, but later. Now, that side there, that one there is on. That there is on. Now I went out and I made 4 more of these things here. I got them sort of painted up. Paint's just to, you know, hold the rust back for another kind of 20 minutes or so. And I've got 2 of the original ones. Those things are expensive, so I don't want to use them. But, you know, that doesn't matter. Anyway, here we go. I'll go back here and get some more of these put on here. Whoa. And see how that goes. See how that works out. Get some light over here. So I've got the piece. This has just started to screw in there. And I've got the piece that goes across here. So then I'll join the 2 together there. And once I get everything on around it, around the whole trunk, then I'll make some adjustments about how they sit. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's all. That part's done, right? Looks pretty good. This is tedious work, this stuff, but it gets done. Then these are the hard things to get the cover over, but I'm done here now. Now at the front, there was one of them that I did that I didn't put a corner piece on, so I've cut some extra ones of these things to put on the corner piece, I think. Anyhow, we'll get to that. Next is the door. I'll get the door done, and then I have to fight with the back door, the back section there. Yeah, there's that door piece on. They go on nice. Like that snaps on well, and it's got a thing holding it like a solid to the car at the back there. Then the last piece to go on here is that side piece there. I'll get that in, and then I'll worry about getting the I'll put the bolt in there, but I'll get that tightened on after I get all the rest of the stuff done. That'll be okay. Now this thing here, now you can see the adjustment that I need to make here. The hood has to come down a bit, but it also has to go that way a bit. This gap has to be a bit bigger here, otherwise that catches on here, and that's not any good. Yeah, there, trim's on all the way around here. Now I've got these 2 pieces. That piece, don't know where that goes. It's nice and shiny, so I bet it was inside the car somewhere. Don't know where. This piece here goes right on the back, right here. I'll get that in a few minutes. Just have to take one of the lights out to be able to put it in there. Then this side here is done all the way up. Now I'm going to adjust the hood so that, or the engine bonnet, so it's going to be in the right spot. This thing here, not bad. I likely could move that way a tiny bit, and it could come down 1/8 of an inch. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Maybe I'll leave well enough alone because I haven't really. I did have that off, so I could imagine it does adjust down a bit, right? Okay, I'll work on that later. First off, hood or engine bonnet. See if we can get that. This has to come that way a tiny bit, and I think the whole thing has to go down a bit, but it's pretty easy. I just have to undo those bolts there and push it that way a bit, right? Okay, we'll do that. Okay, now I made this gap a bit bigger here, so it's, you know, like your finger can just about fit in there. But over on this side, well, and I made this gap a bit smaller, but it's still, you know, your whole finger can go in there. So this side here could come this way a tiny bit more, but I think I'm going to have to leave well enough alone because that twists the whole thing that way and blah, blah, blah. Oh, well. Anyway, now I adjusted it so it sat down a little bit lower, and that's pretty close to the right height there. That side over here, I think it's at the right height. Here, this is a bit lower, and I think really the door should come up a tiny bit because that would make it so it misses this down here, right? So that should be just a bit higher. Let me just check the other side, see how that looks on the other side. Yeah, so this thing here should be just a bit higher than that, and that would make it so it doesn't scrape. So the door on this side should come up a bit, but again, I'm going to leave well enough alone for a while. Let it settle for a while. I can fight with these doors forever. Like this one, you know, it's pretty good here. Could go in a bit more on the close, but I'm pretty happy. Anyhow, that's trim all the way around the car, right? I'll do this piece next. Right up to the front. That looks pretty good. It makes it look nicer when you get that trim on. Now there's a piece of trim that goes, these ones like this. I'm missing one maybe. I think I've seen it around. These ones go, that's missing the black bit. They go down there at the bottom. I guess that's, wonder what I can do about that. And the one piece that's missing, I wonder where I've seen that. Somewhere in one of these boxes I've seen it. I know I have. Anyhow, I'll look for that. Yeah, so I got that piece of trim on the back here. And there's the trim on the back, right? But anybody's been waiting to see it there it is, 2002, and automatic. That's, you know, it's not a TII, it's an automatic, which is okay. I don't mind that a bit. My 635 CSI is an automatic, and it goes like snot, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, get the bumpers on pretty soon, and this stuff here, which is, I still have to drill a couple of holes on that side because they were covered. Okay, on to the next pieces down, like this one here, which is not in bad shape. Goes right here on the door. This one here goes on the other side. No, not long enough for that. Where does it go? Those two. This one here goes on the other side right there, right? This one here, too long for there. Can you go down here or something? I don't know. Is there one there? I don't know. Don't remember. Not remembering. Well, don't know at all. Is there one that goes right there? Must be. But then where's the ones that go there? Well, let's see what I can figure it out. I'll take a look at the old fender and see. That means I'm still missing two pieces. Wonder what I did with the old fender. I put it somewhere safe. But I think I took all the pieces off of it, so I'll take a look around, see what I can find. Yeah, here they are, these two pieces. So there is a piece at the back there. Now I'll have to figure out where those holes go. And this one here goes here, like that. And there's a hole here, but I have to make a hole there, or else I'll think about what to do about that. Yeah, so it gets a clippy thing there, so that goes on there. Okay, all right, that's, yeah, so I have to make some like metal holders, those things like, where are they? Where's my others? Like these over here, those things that I made. I don't know where, I had one original left somewhere. Anyhow, the things that I made for holding in the, where they screw in down here. I have to make some for this, but they're wider. They're 2.3 by 2.6, and they have a little notch that they slide into and then slide that way. Okay, I'll go on the metal cutter. Hang on. I've got this cutter here. It works pretty good. I'll show you how I do these. I'll just put you up here on top of the tank, right? Right around there, I'm looking. Yeah. Okay, so I've got that line on there. That's how wide they have to be. Sometimes this thing gets a bit wide. I think, right? Oh, there's a long reach down here some days. Yeah, see, went off track there a bit, but that's pretty easy to fix. Right about there. That straightened it right out again. Now I've got all these marks along here for the right width of them. So you just line them up and start slicing. There, 9 of them, right? I'll get them gathered up off the floor and we'll go over to the other side again. So step 2 is to flatten them all. After they go through that cutter, they get a little bit bent at the edges. There we go. Yeah, next step is to drill holes in every one of them. So I took a center punch and punched a little punch there. It's important to have it centered this way so that it doesn't, so that the metal piece will sit flat on the car. But there's a little bit of sway in it anyhow. It's not a real precision fit. You get the idea. Now I'll give them all a little bit of a paint. So I'm going to let that set for a while whilst I do some other cleaning up on these things here. So all these pieces survived pretty well. There was one, I'll show you here. So this is what it's supposed to be like. The big long one, right? It's got that black plastic down the center, like that. This other one, the one for the other side, was missing the black plastic. Can you tell the difference? Likely you can. But this is just some black Gorilla Tape on there that's long enough and wide enough. I cut it out using the brace over there, the metal brace, get a straight line on it, and it seems to be pretty good. It looks, you know, it's down at the bottom of the car, so it'll be well hidden. The only thing about these other ones here, like in here, this is where the old, those metal pieces that I'm making, they used to be in here, and then you got to clean all that out because it's all what they call rust jacking, eh? And in the meantime, I'll clean this out and likely poke my finger with that pokey thing because it's sharp, and I've done that before. Anyhow, just a bit of time to get that stuff cleaned out of there. You can, I don't know if you can see that down right in underneath that. There's rusty stuff, so I'll get that out of there. Now I got all that debris out of there, and that's ready for the car on next one. So I made this little bit of a template here before I took the old fender off. This is where the holes were, like one hole there, one hole there. Then I have that little black dot right there. That was where that hole is there. And that's an existing hole. These ones here, don't know what they were for. But then I have one here. I think there's another hole that goes here, but I can save that for later. This hole and this hole, I think, is where the trim piece goes. Now you see what I've got going on here. I've got my laser level set up, but the car is not level, so I've got it fixed so you can just turn the level. And I've got the little red line coming just on the top of that, just on the top of that, just on the top of that. So I'm going to have it on. Let me find a plastic thing. Okay, there's the level line. I'm walking in front of the, and it's going through the center of each one of these things here. So over here, where it comes out here, that'll be the same line, right? So we're gonna go with that. Now I'll turn on the lights and see what we can figure out here. Hang on. Pretty close. Got to come down a bit on that line there. But I think this, we'll just hang on. I'll reposition that tape. There, now I put, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see the red line. I put a little white dot there and a little white dot there. Those are where the two, where it should line up to be parallel or in line with those. I'm not going to drill any holes here until I get the back bumper on, and then I'll sort of position it and see if it looks right, because there's no point getting it wrong right away. This part here is okay. I've got a hole to go by up there, so that's pretty easy to get the second hole in. And though that one takes 2 bolts from behind at the very front, this one here gets 1 bolt here, this one gets 1 bolt there, that one gets 2 bolts from behind. But we'll just wait and see how where those things come out to. I might just put those clippy things in there, the white things. We'll see how it holds on. Okay, anyhow, that's a good start. It's a start. So these laser levels are really handy. Now you can put it on, if you click the button this way, then it's going to be a level line. But if you click the button this way, it'll hold that thing on center and just, it'll be off like you can have a line anywhere at any angle, like just turn it to any angle and you got the line held there, like just a laser line on the surface. So handy. I'll go to the other side. Well, I'll get this side done, then I'll go to the other side and do it up here. Same trick. Then I'll get the bumper, the rear bumper, and put the rear bumper on, because I've got all those rubber things that go in there, and I've got all the hardware somewhere. And once the bumper's on, then I can tell where things are supposed to be a little bit better. But I'll get these ones on first, and then we'll fight with that next one. Okay. Yeah, so here's the door piece. This goes on the driver's side. There's just the slightest bit of an angle on that thing heading downward, and it fits to the same contour as the door. So I'll put this on over there for starters. So all these little pieces that I made, I'm threading them in here. Just run a thread through them, M4 thread. Then I can, oops, where am I pointing? Pointing down to the ground. You don't need to see the ground. You know what that looks like already. This thing here will just thread them up, and then I put an little M4 bolt in here and tighten it down, and that makes it so that it won't slide out again, right? I've got these little socket head bolts. I'll show you. Hang on a second. Yeah, so there it is, threaded in, and then this just, whoops, you gotta put it in that end first and slide it over. Maybe it's gotta go the other way. Let's see. Yeah, slide it over like that. And I might have to, like the first one I put in, I had to trim this edge off a bit so that it would come to the right spot. But we'll go and stick this on, and then I'll show you the two that I've done. Yeah, so this now, sort of pick where you like it, and I've got it just hanging on the top of these things, right? So now if you just, whoops, gotta get this over about there somewhere, right? Yeah. Then you hear that snap, that means it's on. This one here is not on. See, that's there, that's on. And then this one here I'll tighten down. This is tight. That's all the way along. There's plastic thingies all the way along there. So that's done. Now I'll see if I can figure out how to get the front one on there, because I'm gonna have to drill a hole somewhere. Maybe I can see a hole there. It used to be, maybe. Okay, might have to put the laser level on it again. Ooh, I should have had that. Should have done that before I put all these things on, right? But I know where the center is, so that's good. Yeah, there, that trim all the way along, except for the back, which I'm gonna wait for to have the 4 to have the bumper on before I do that. This one here went on. I've got 2 bolts through this holding it to the side here. I was able to drill that hole in the right spot, and the one hole's there, the other hole's right there. So now I have to set up the other side and get it all drilled out right. So I'll take the laser level over there and do that, and then I can get the spacing of these holes from that and that right there. Now, what else? That's, yeah, just carry on. Yeah, there I've got this, you can see the red line there going through the middle of all those things, and then the middle of this one and the middle of that one, so that's good. And then the distance here is okay. These can go on here. Oh, come on, there we are, like that. And it pushes forward as far as it can this way, just because, and that should work. Anyway, we'll get that on, and I'll tighten it up after I get this one here on. Okay, I need more hands. Yeah, well, there we go. Now what I do here is put some silicone on here and here, and around that, because this is the wet side, right? I don't want water coming through. Yeah, more trim on. Now this this bit here is, well, just how it is. It's okay. It'll be fine. That needs some cleaning here because it's just, there's some yuck on that. I tried to get it off as well as I could, but there's still more to get off. Anyhow, I won't get, now you can see here, this is lined up. The door should just come up a little bit all the way along. So perhaps I will, that's a pain because I got to take the door card off for that, right? And I don't really like, no, I don't want it to go up anymore. I'm good with it there. And this has to be tightened. This has to be tightened down. So we're going to have to be okay with it. That's where it's going to live. A little bit off right there, but I can pull that down a bit to make it even right there. You wouldn't even notice the difference. So next is the rear bumper. I think I better put that on. And that, like, I've got a rubber thing to go in here. The rubber thing is already in here. And I've got a rubber thing to go there. And then when that's on, then I can decide where this last piece of trim here goes. Good. Okay, that's coming up. Okay, here's all the bumpers, right? These are the big old American sized style ones, which I really don't mind. Lots of people want to have the European style ones, but I don't mind these ones a bit. So this is the front bumper. That's the rear bumper. This part here is the splash guard for the bumper. Goes underneath here and hooks onto the car first. So this has to go on first. Then on the front, it's got these guards here that go over the, right here sort of thing, where the can you tell that? That's where the bumper comes out, and then this comes on right there, just to cover over those poles that come out, and there, right there. So I had to make a centering piece over there. Now that's made out of PE weak plastic. So I think what I'll do is I'll redo that one in heavy duty plastic. But that's the right size. So fits my, well, I had to redo the whole side over there where it holds the bumper. And this was an integral part of it. Anyway, so now, that's enough for today. The only one I've got this piece of chrome, and like it will, it will fit right on here. It's got the right contour for right there, but there's no evidence. These are the holes that hold on the rubber bit. There's no evidence of any holes to hold on this, and there's no I don't know where it goes. Like, there's no room for it up here. It doesn't fit. Like, it won't go on there, won't go on there, or won't go on there, won't go on there, or won't go above here. Maybe it'll go up here. I don't know. Does it go there? No, that looks silly anyhow, eh? The only place it would look good is right here, and I don't think it goes there. But I don't know. Anyway, anybody knows where that goes, let me know, because I don't know. And so I'll carry on. Anyhow, see you tomorrow. That's enough for today. I'll tackle this stuff tomorrow. Okay, here we are. I've cleaned this up. That's the dust cover for the rear bumper. And then I've also cleaned up the rear bumper. It's not bad. Like this, I don't know how to polish that. I'll maybe polish that when it's on the car sometime. Don't want to get into it with anything too abrasive because that'll just take the finish off it. But it's got these bolts that go through the through the fender, or through the back of the car. No holes on this side. Where do they go? I wonder what these holes are for. There's 1, 2, 3 holes there. Well, that's for the thing that comes around, is it? Maybe. Yeah. Well, one of them is. Don't know what the other two are for. Well, I'll find out sometime. Anyhow, I'll get the bumper guard on there first. First I'll get these rubber things in. Right there. And then I'll get the bumper guard on, then we'll carry on from there. Yeah, so the rubber things, that one went in easy, right? This one here, I just used this pipe and just, I'll give it a few judicious pounds with a hammer. The other one just pushed in by hand, but this one here is a little bit tighter for some reason. I did some work underneath that, hey? Okay. Okay, so here I am made. How do you tell where those holes are? I've got 2 of them. So I just made a template from this, right? Oops, quite a bit tight. That way on there, all those bolts come through. And then I have to go with this side over to this side, right? So 2 forward and 1 behind. And just line them up and then put a mark there. Don't know, can you see that mark? Right there. I'll drill a hole. Then the other side is like the opposite way. So 2 back and 1 forward. Put a mark right there. Drill that hole, and should be, these things should go in there. But this might be all right for the front too. I'm not really sure what the front one looks like, but anyway, I'll drill those holes. Yeah, I'll see if I can put the bumper back on. Yeah, somewhere around there, hey? Okay, let's see what happens. Yep. Gotta make sure that the holes are pointing upward for the things to go through. This one here is longer, so it goes in first, but of course it's not going to go in there. It likely have some yuck in the way, right? Guess I got to do some cleaning in there first. Give me a minute or 2. Try again. I got some soapy water into it. See what happens this time. There it goes. Now it started. Okay. Knock the car off the lift, maybe. Can't tell if that's in there. Okay, I'll just keep pushing at it here. There, I got it pushed on, and these things are pretty close to where they're supposed to be, and that one there's not quite on. Okay, that's got to be rounded down a bit. Maybe a file on it or something. I'll just see what I can do. So that's on. Then all the bolts that are down there, 3 bolts there, and then all these screws that go around to hold on this part here. It's all solid, both sides. And then the big bolts, there's a great big bolt here. I'll light at it. That big bolt there, and another one there. Oh, and this one here, it's tight, and it gets covered over with that plastic thing. Oh, this thing here, that turns around upside down and has a bit of pressure on it. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. It goes like that and then tightens down on the rubber, which is just how it is, I guess. So I'll get my 10mm wrench and tighten them down. Don't know what it's for, but that's there. Okay. Yeah, so I've got this figured out where these go. This one. Right on. Right like that, right there. And then one hole there, and same thing on the other side. And it'll all come up against here and come up against there, just tight. Okay, and it seems to be level with the rest of the hole all the way along. That side over there is just an 1/8 of an inch taller, higher than those things, but you won't notice it. Yeah, there now. I've got it. Wait, now is it recording? There, it's recording. Yeah. So I've got it, the trim on all the way around, including here. Now I did put it on with those little white clippy things. That side there I'm not as happy with as the other side, but I couldn't reach in to put it in with a bolt. I just couldn't even reach down there. Okay, this side's in down there. Back bumper's on. Hey. The only piece of trim that I have left over now is this one right here, and it's at the right roundness for the back end, the rear end, but I don't know where it goes. Can't seem to find a spot for it. Anyway, that's all right. That's about it for this episode, right? So trim's on, back bumper's on, front bumper's there. I'll get to that next time. We're sort of out of time on this one, and out of days too, because it's pretty near Christmas here. 2 more days it'll be Christmas, and tomorrow I won't get anything done tomorrow, and the next day is Christmas Eve. I won't get anything done that day, so I'll cut this off here, and then we'll come back to it next time and see if I can get that window into it and things like that, and get the front bumper on it. Anyway, Merry Christmas and to everybody. I know you won't see this until New Year's Day, maybe you'll see this, and a Happy New Year to everybody. So come on back for more. We'll see if we can get it finished up here one of these days. I don't know. I don't know if I've, a finished project out of here. I don't know if that's possible. Anyhow, we'll keep on working on it. Yeah, what happened to all the snow? Hey, all gone. Oh, there's a little patch of it up there by my house, right? There's a dog rolling in something smelly. Loves that. Anyway, off to the beach, just see how things are. It's still before Christmas, sometime in December, maybe. I think it's the 25th, maybe 21st, who knows. Yeah, and it's been a bit windy and stormy down here by the beach for, well, all over. It's been some pretty big winds blowing, so the ocean is fairly rowely. Not much snow left. Still some ice on the pond. Don't know whether I'd be standing on that. And the beach is the beach has changed. Looked like the waves came right up past the bench. Didn't take it out to the ocean. But there are some breakers. Yeah, so, yeah, there you go. I think it's a Happy New Year type, this one. You'll see this in the New Year, maybe on New Year's Day. See you later.